Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to map out exactly how you can launch a secure, highly lucrative career in information technology. And you know what? The absolute best part is you need zero prior experience to get started. None. The AI Bridge Foundation actually created this explainer using ARI, purely trying to be helpful for anyone standing at the threshold of a new career but maybe feeling a little unsure of where to begin. So, let's build your foundation today.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with your first step into IT. Then we'll get into decoding the 5 domains. After that, we'll cover what the exam looks like, learning smarter with ARI, and finally wrap up with the career path ahead.
I know, breaking into tech can seem incredibly intimidating. It's filled with endless jargon and really complex systems. But I promise you, we're going to break this all down into bite-sized, totally manageable pieces. Before we even get into the technical weeds, though, I want to just crush any imposter syndrome you might be feeling right out of the gate. People pass the APlus coming from retail, food service, the military, literally every background imaginable. Now, CompTIA does suggest having 12 months of hands-on experience, but listen, that is merely a suggestion. It is not a requirement. What truly matters here is your willingness to learn. You belong here.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, your first step into IT, demystifying the foundation.
I want you to think of yourself as the hero of this story, standing right at the edge of a completely new, exciting career path. You are essentially about to acquire the superpowers needed to keep the modern digital world running. So, what actually is this certification? The CompTIA A Core 1, specifically Exam 220-121, is literally the world's most recognized entry-level IT certification. It focuses heavily on the physical and network side of things. When a business's Wi-Fi keeps dropping, or the CEO's presentation laptop suddenly won't boot up, having this cert is the ultimate proof that you are the one who can step in, diagnose the issue, and actually fix it to save the day.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding the 5 domains, the map of your journey.
To pass this exam, you really don't want to just study randomly. You need to follow a very specific map. The exam is broken down into 5 distinct domains, and understanding this breakdown is absolutely key to your success. It brilliantly illustrates exactly where to put your energy. Troubleshooting is the biggest slice in the pie at 28%, closely followed by hardware at 25% and networking at 23%. Mobile devices and virtualization make up that remaining 24%. What this tells you instantly is that if you can master troubleshooting, hardware, and networking, you've already conquered over 3/4 of the test.
Since troubleshooting is the biggest chunk, let's talk about what that actually means in practice. The exam focuses heavily on a systematic methodology for diagnosing problems. It's not about randomly guessing until something works, it's a scientific process. You'll learn to identify the symptoms, form a theory of probable cause, test that theory, implement your fix, and finally, document your results. And this applies to everything, from a PC that completely fails to start up to a network that just won't hold a connection.
So how does this build into the hardware and networking domains, which make up almost the other half of the exam? Well, hardware is the guts of the computer. You're going to learn about RAM types, motherboards, CPUs, and modern storage like NVMe SSDs. You will physically know what every single component does. Then, in networking, you learn how all those devices actually talk to each other. You'll set up small office networks from scratch, learn about new Wi-Fi 6E standards, and yes, you will need to memorize some essential protocols, like knowing off the top of your head that SSH operates on port 22 and HTTPS uses port 443.
Rounding out our domains are mobile devices and cloud computing, because let's face it, the modern workplace is entirely mobile and cloud-based now. You're going to master configuring laptops and phones, setting up mobile device management or MDM policies for corporate environments, and syncing cloud storage. Plus, you'll dive into virtual machines, get to know the difference between Type 1 and Type 2 hypervisors, and easily spot the difference between cloud models like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service.
All right, let's jump into Section 3, what the exam looks like, facing the trial.
It is time to pull back the curtain on the actual test itself. Facing this trial really doesn't have to be scary when you know exactly what you're walking into, so let's clear up some of that testing anxiety with pure facts. Here are the raw specs rapid fire. You'll face a maximum of 90 questions. You have exactly 90 minutes to knock them out, meaning roughly 1 minute per question. The passing score you're aiming for is 675 out of 900, and the cost to sit for the exam is $246 per attempt.
One fantastic thing about this is that if things go wrong on test day, there's no mandatory waiting period after your first attempt if you need to retake it.
Now, a quick heads up. Those 90 questions aren't all just simple multiple choice. You're also going to face what CompTIA calls performance-based questions, or PBQs. This is where you actually prove your skills. Instead of just picking A, B, C, or D, a PBQ might drop you into a simulated computer environment. You literally have to drag and drop network cables, configure a router interface, or identify physical components right there on your screen.
And see that number 3 on your screen? That is a very important number. Once you conquer this exam, your APlus certification remains valid for 3 solid years. After that, you keep it active by completing continuing education credits or, and this is the better route, by simply passing a higher-level CompTIA exam, which naturally extends the life of this foundational cert.
This brings us to Section 4, Learning Smarter with Ari, your expert guide.
So how do we actually get you to that passing score without totally burning out? Well, remember how I mentioned the AI Bridge Foundation created this explainer using RA to be helpful? RA is your personalized expert guide through all this intimidating IT jargon. Notice the stark contrast here on the screen. Traditional studying relies on boring, outdated textbooks, watching hours of passive videos, and doing static worksheets. RA is completely different. RA starts by asking what you already know. If you already understand what port 433 does, RA skips it and focuses adaptively on your actual gaps. If something like subnetting confuses you, RA uses real-world scenarios and analogies to explain it until it finally clicks. It dynamically adapts to how you learn best.
Ari really takes all the guesswork out of your test readiness by continuously tracking your progress. Your ultimate goal is right there. Reach a confident status on all 17 topics in the tracker. Once Ari shows that you are confident across the board, boom, that's your green light. You are fully prepared to spend that $246 and book your exam with total peace of mind.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the career path ahead, reaping the rewards. Let's talk about the absolute best part, the payoff for completing this journey. What does the career path actually look like once you hold this certification? Well, it unlocks what the IT industry fondly calls the CompTIA trifecta. The APlus is step 1. It's the necessary foundation. From there, you build upwards to step 2, the Network Plus, and then step 3, the Security Plus. Having these 3 certifications stacked together makes you incredibly competitive for the vast majority of entry to mid-level IT positions globally. But honestly, even before you get the other 2, this single A-plus certification qualifies you for roles right now, like help desk technician, desktop support specialist, field service technician, and tons of other IT support roles. Many of these jobs outright require, or highly prefer, candidates who hold the A+. And remember, you needed absolutely no prior experience to get to this point. And here is the financial reality of opening those doors. Depending on your location and the exact role, these entry-level positions typically pay between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. That is a fantastic starting point for a career path that literally only goes up from there as you gain experience and add more certifications to your resume.
So we've mapped out the domains, we've demystified the exam, and we've revealed the $60,000 doors just waiting to be unlocked. The blueprint is right here in front of you, and Ari is ready to adapt to your mind. The only question left to ask yourself is, are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to take that very first step into your future today? Let Ari take it from here.